Welcome back. Let's talk about common issues and useful tips for working with Git. One of the most common issues that arises in group projects is multiple people trying to push to the same branch, which will cause conflicts for the remote version of the project that need to be resolved. You should try to avoid this as much as possible. A great strategy for this is to always use your own branch and name it with your name, an issue number if applicable, and a 1 to 2 word description of what the branch is intended to improve or fix. If you have already tried to push to the same branch as someone else, you will likely get the message, failed to push some refs. Updates were rejected because the remote contains work that you do not have locally. One of the easier ways to resolve this error message is to stash your changes using git stash, pull the latest updates from the remote branch using git pull, then pop your stash changes using git stash pop, and resolve any merge conflicts that you are prompted with. Git stash temporarily stashes or saves changes that you've made to your working copy so that you can pull changes from the remote branch without interfering with your changes. There are other ways that you can resolve this error message that will also work, but may result in you losing some of your progress or incorrectly merged code. Now that we've addressed one of the most common issues in group work in Git, we'll move on to some tips and tricks that may be helpful. When working with a GitHub repository, you'll often need to identify yourself to GitHub using your username and password. An SSH key is an alternate way to identify yourself that doesn't require you to enter your username and password every time. Adding an SSH key makes pushing and pulling to remote repositories much easier by eliminating the need for repeated authentication. If you're interested in learning more about SSH keys or how to set them up, we will link resources in the description that go more in depth. In the case that everything breaks, hopefully you won't need to do this, but if you find yourself running into Git errors that you don't understand and can't figure out how to fix, you can remove the .git directory with the command rm-rf.git. This will essentially sever the connection between the local version of your repository and the remote repository, and revert your local copy back to a directory rather than a Git project. You can then reinitialize the repo and reconnect to your remote repo. This is a worst-case scenario solution for when you really can't understand what happened to your Git configurations or how to resolve a specific Git issue. If you run into issues using Git and want some extra help in a professional or academic environment, there are not only tons of online resources to help you, but also professors and tutors at UNM that you can reach out to in order to get help. Git is an essential tool that you will likely use through your entire career, so starting to use it early can only help you to get ahead. Good luck! The slides used for this presentation will be linked below, as well as additional resources.